at home.
Thank you.
It's a great honor to meet you, sir. Dr. Seward speaks so highly of you. I am the doctor's assistant, Margaret Sullivan.
My pleasure, Miss Sullivan.
Can I take that for you?
No. I'll take it with you.
Just your coat, then.
Yes, very kind.
Well, I'll tell the doctor you're here as soon as he arrives.
Much obliged. Is there something?
Well, there's been a great sadness in this house lately, as I'm sure you know.
Yes, understandable. Hopefully we'll be shedding light on the matter very soon.
That would be grand. Well, I'd best be back to my duties. God be with you, Professor.
God be with us all.
Amen.
Amen.
How do you do?
How do you do?
May I be of some assistance?
I'm waiting Dr. Stewart.
Indeed. Well, I'm his associate. How may I help you?
Forgive me, I'm here only to speak with Dr. Stewart.
Oh, come, my man. No need for embarrassment. Whatever your symptoms may be, I assure you, I am more than qualified to assess them.
Please.
You're looking at a man intimately acquainted with
Please,
mental
sir.
disease.
Please, sir.
If I may eventually get a stab in the dark, as we say. A fellow your years, a little bit fuddled, are we? Few cobwebs gathering in the old belfry.
Sir, I am seeking those services. I am here at the invitation of Dr. Stewart.
Really? Strange. I was not intending such invitation. Name, please.
Van Helsing. Abram Van Helsing.
It is not!
It is.
Professor Abram Van Helsing. The Professor Abram Van Helsing.
Quite so.
How's that? This is indeed a momentous occasion. How wondrous, strange, that fate should cast together two such geniuses as we. Your work, Abram, in the realm of the supernatural. Uncanny.
You flatter me, Dr.
Renfield, Robert Renfield.
So you have some interest in the occult?
I dabble, sir, I dabble. Oh, I could kill that silly for not mentioning this. Little snake. Look at his, let me tell you. Have a seat. Abram. Tell me, what brings your way from Holland to our little bacon wine to see?
Again, that is a matter for myself and Dr. Stewart.
Understood. Understood. Of course, it might be in your best interest to confide in someone like me. The doctor hasn't been quite himself lately.
What do you mean?
Well, it's my professional opinion. That is to say, my clinical, scientific, diagnostic analysis that the man's about to pop his cork. His moods have grown increasingly morbid. You see, it's the grief of the loss of his beloved.
It's grand.
I see you know something of the case. Yes, the enchanting Miss Mina Grant. Voluptuous specimen she was. Swear by. Might have to go home myself with my loyalty to dear old Dr. Tom. Are you also informed that we have in our midst a certain house guest, a Miss Lucy Westfall? Another look, by the way, every bit the equal to the latest crime. But with the distinct advantage of being alive, temporarily, is she's exhibiting the very same appalling symptoms.
I did, yes. I know Miss Westphal as well.
Then I found you out. Delightful expert that you are in medical exotica. Poor, desperate Sylvie must have begged for your assistance. Well, let me tell you, dear boy, what I do. I turn right round and make a beeline back to the land of dikes and windows.
Now, why would I want to do that?
Alas, now it is I who must maintain secrecy. But I assure you,
intention of leaving.
Sir, as one doctor to another, there is naught that you can do here. You'd be a downright fool to stay.
Sir, I am no fool, and you are the doctor.
Whatever do you mean?
Well, for one, you are just the rags in your cupboards and bin.
Oh, that! Been doing a bit of gardening.
Have you?
Of course I have. I'm what you might call a child of nature. Stimulating, really, to be out there with the little creatures flitting and buzzing about. Positively gives one an appetite.
Let us drop this charade, my friend. Clearly, something troubles you. Perhaps I can be of assistance.
And perhaps the sun will rise in the west tomorrow. You want the truth? The truth is, every moment you remain here brings you closer to destruction. Get out, you fool. Take me with. Get out.
April, thank God! Renfield!
Evening to a miss. Have a pleasant stroll.
What in the blazes are you doing here?
Where's this fellow?
He's one of the inmates.
That's rather surprising.
Mr. Renfield, how did you get out this time?
Professional secret.
I'm terribly sorry. There's no way to welcome you to my home.
Oh, it is quite all right. Mr. Renville here has been quite engaging. He's a man of remarkable erudition and intellect.
He's also a man of delusion and hysteria, and one who's lately adopted the charming practice of aphasia.
Is that true? You like to feed on living things?
I do confess to certain Epicurean weaknesses.
Do you favor any particular species?
He's wild about flies.
Currently, that is my passion. Did you know, Professor, that they vary in flavour? The green ones, the blue ones, golden ones, they all taste distinctly different. But the black ones, those big fat black beauties. You nip off the head, and this tiny nectar gushes full, and you suck the little fella dry.
Renfield! Mr. Briggs, this is unacceptable.
Sir, I was gone half an hour ago. He was in his cell asleep, and the door was locked and bolted.
But we can't have him running off. Running off this every few days.
Look, I'll feed him. I'll clean up after him. I will wash him about the ground. But this one here needs a clean silk here. Come on, play. Let's play.
Oh, that's enough. For God's sakes, Briggs, let him breathe.
He's a piece of shit, sir. Even his claws. Revolted the ones who sucked it in on the dirty little days. What? Ain't no better than they are.
You would judge me? You who feed on the dead swine, the deceased sheep, the decaying cow, a whole menagerie of cadavers. You let someone else do your dirty, do the killing for you, and then you devour the dead. I cut out the middleman, live off the living.
The wife lies about things.
Everybody's got to start somewhere. Even a lowly fly, embodies the great surging energy of the cosmos. You here, buzzing about your head, you find him a nuisance. I hear Rhapsody, the great surging power of the elemental world.
And you crave that energy.
I'm thirsty. It's in the blood, you see.
In the blood.
The blood is the life.
Is he quoting the Bible?
Yeah. Ye that dwelleth in the valley of the shadow of death, be forewarned. A shepherd approacheth to lead thee to slaughter.
That's enough. Mr. Renfield, you'll have to go.
Capital idea. Be happy to. Far away as possible. Chain me up, throw me in a dungeon, pack down me.
Mr. Briggs, remove him.
Renfield, why do you want to leave so untimely?
Oh, you know, change of scenery. Not that the accommodations here aren't first rate, and the help couldn't be lovely.
And this is what troubles you.
No. You'd only fail me. Just like poor, pathetic Sue. Failed me, and his dear departed Mina.
How do you know about that?
Look back, told me. Told me she Left you for another?
I'll take you Spain.
Oh, the lovely Lady Mina was a charming dancer gay. She had a change of heart in the night she passed away. Now she dances with the devil in the deep dark water, between the devil and the deep
Oh,
blue
for
sea.
God's sake, just stop it. Just stop
Lay
it.
down! Take a look at that portfolio. Look at it. Perhaps it will help you speak more frankly.
Ain't you a clever devil? Here's poor me. Stuck between two clever devils. Damned if I do. Damned if I don't. Alright then. Here, Professor. You think you're so bloody smart? Here it is. Am I awake? I hear. Am I awake? I awake? I awake? I awake?
It's okay.
Sorry about this, Professor. Under other circumstances, we might be great friends. It's not just me, you know. It's all of us. We're all damned. We're all damned.
Abram, are you all right?
Yes. Quite all right.
My dear friend, it's so good to see you. I can't begin to apologize enough for that poor lunatic's behavior.
There's no need to apologize. And it's wonderful to see you too.
I honestly don't know what's gotten into Renfield these past couple of months. He's never been one for his morbid appetites or violent behaviors. What did he see that enraged him?
We'll discuss that in due time. I'm more worried about your current situation. I wept when I read your letter.
Yes. Sadly, wayward lunatics are the least of my problems.
Tell me about your Mina.
The illness came upon her literally overnight. She and Lucy, they were the best of friends, were visiting me. One night, she awakened frighteningly pale, barely the strength to get out of bed. I examined her thoroughly and searched through every medical section I could find, but could only arrive at one diagnosis.
Loss of blood.
Precisely.
Since you wrote me. And they began the transfusions.
Yes, the first was miraculously successful. She was up and about in no time. But a few days later, she was stricken again, and this began a downward spiral. There were 5 more transfusions, each one less effective than the last, until finally I lost her.
I'm deeply sorry.
I tell you frankly, Abram, I sincerely wonder if I can go on. I'm sometimes literally paralyzed with grief. I visit her tomb daily. It seems to help. I feel as if some essence of her lingers there, and it provides a degree of solace, but oh God, I'm sorry.
Listen to me, Thomas. You are a doctor just as I am. And it is our duty to continue. My dear wife died. I felt very much like you do. I came to the realization that my work was my salvation. There were great discoveries we made, lives we saved.
Such adventures you've had since then, Abram. Traveling the world.
The term adventure most often used in hindsight. An adventure well experienced usually means trouble.
Still, I've always been
My friend, before our work here is done, we will have many, many troubles.
Oh, it's that damned animal again. He's got the whole county singing along.
Sounds like a wolf.
Not a wolf precisely, but rather a large hound. He's been in the neighborhood ever since Mina fell ill. I must tell you more about that.
Look, down there by the beach, that was a rider. Pushing that animal awfully hard.
That would be the Count. He's the new resident at Carfax. We see him riding frequently at night, always unsaddled, unbridled, and at full gallop.
What a magnificent mount. Must be a European breed.
Yes, he had it imported from this part of the world.
What in the world is that?
The Carpathians. Apparently,
Yes, let's discuss Miss Lucy. Now, she grew ill after Mina's death.
Yes, she's handling it slightly better, but there's no telling how long she'll last.
And the symptoms were the same as Mina's.
Yes. 3 days after the funeral, she was staying on with me, each of us consoling the other. I think she feared I'd actually put a bullet through my brain. Until 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, my dear friend became my doctor, and I had a dilemma.
Lucy.
I heard a commotion.
Oh, yes, it's all taken care of. No need to worry. This is the man I wrote you about, Professor Abram Van Helsing.
I guessed as much. So pleased to meet you, Doctor. I'm Lucy Westfall.
My pleasure. Dr. Thomas spoke of your beauty and grace, but neglected to mention your beauty.
Oh, you are kind to say so.
You must be the certain suitors.
Certain sorrows, rather. You haven't told him, Thomas?
I wrote only of your symptoms, Lucy, nothing of John.
John.
John Parker, Lucy's fiance. As if we don't have enough dark shadows looming over us. John's gone missing, you see.
Missing. How?
He is, the solicitor with the firm that handled the sale of comics. He traveled to Transylvania with the Count as his personal guest for 2 weeks, but on the way back from Bucharest, he disappeared entirely.
That was 2 months ago.
And the Count could be of no help.
He was already in transit when we tried to reach him, and knew nothing of it until he arrived 6 weeks ago. He's inquired through agents of his own to John's whereabouts, but to no avail.
By the jolly there, you got yourself mixed up with, Professor? Not exactly a fun-filled holiday abroad.
I'm not one for the holidays. I go where I'm needed.
Like a knight errant. Well, you have found your maiden in distress. Although, sometimes I think I'd welcome death if I am to live my life without a John.
Have I come all this way to wage a war, only to find that my allies are on the brink of surrender? What were those two that you missed so dearly having to succumb to such despair?
But what's to be done,
Well, let us unravel the mystery. Miss Lucy, a few questions. Dr. Seward informs me that on the onset of the symptoms and the subsequent relapses, they're always noticed upon waking. Is that so?
It is so.
And that was the case in Mina's as well.
That's true.
But that is true.
Pardon?
What other experiences do you share in common?
I don't know what you mean.
Dr. Seward feared this might be a contagious phenomenon, wrote that you and she shared a bed, yes?
Yes, we've always done that on visits. Since
So
we
then
were
there
girls.
must be some other experience that happened before the symptoms arose.
Well, I suppose there was.
Something unique, something that set those other evenings apart.
Well, she began sleepwalking.
Sleepwalking? Lucy, why didn't you tell me?
She begged me not to. She said you had enough to worry about. I'm sorry, Tom. I know I should have said something, but everything happened so fast, and when she was gone, there just didn't seem to be any point in mentioning it.
So you would awaken at night and she would be gone.
Yes.
And then,
Well, naturally, I went out looking for her. I usually found her out on the ground somewhere, and each time I'd wake her gently and take her to bed. But once I caught sight of her heading up the path to the cemetery, and when I got there, she was sitting on the old stone bench outside a family crypt. And well, I was at some distance, and there was a good deal of fog, but there appeared to be a figure hunched over her.
Some piece of statuary, you mean?
No, it was animated. Dressed in black, tall and thin, and the face was of some wild beast, and the eyes,
what about the eyes, miss?
they were red. Red like coals glowing in the dark. I called after her, and that thing, whatever it was, just vanished in the fog. I ran to her, and I brought her back to the house, and the next morning she was worse than ever. 2 days later, she was gone.
That was the last time that you saw this thing there with the red eyes.
I have not begun sleepwalking, if that's what you mean.
That is not what I asked.
Very well, then yes, I have seen that face again, in a manner of speaking. Had a few nightmares since we have passed.
And that is the last time that you saw this thing that you described.
Yes, that's when. Oh dear, you must think me quite insane.
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I have just met a lunatic who also has difficulty telling me the truth.
But I have told you no lies.
None, but you have not told me all the truth.
What more can I tell?
Would you remove your scarf?
But why?
I wish to examine your throat. I am a physician. Please. It is for the best, I promise. Now, miss, come take a look. Does it look familiar?
Yes. Mina had those same 2 wounds. Lucy, why did you keep this from me as
Oh,
well?
I don't know. Insect bites. I thought they were bug bites. Lord knows living out here in the country, it could be anything.
Abram, what does it all mean?
Trouble, my boy. It means trouble.
Oh, but that's Renfield again. I'll throttle myself this time.
I am well.
Yes, as always. Do come in, Count.
Good evening, Miss Lucy. You look ravishing as ever.
Thank you, Count.
But I see that you already have a guest. I am thrilled.
Oh, no, it's quite all right. Count Dracula, Professor Abram Van Helsing.
A pleasure, Count.
Van Helsing, the writer. Science and the supernatural. Secrets of the warlock.
You've read it.
Amongst many others. Including those dealing with my own homeland. Most entertaining.
Thank you.
I have a few tales of my own that I will share with you.
Perhaps we will share this over a glass of sherry.
I never drink wine. Nevertheless, we shall have our time together, I assure you.
That is a magnificent mount you have over there. We saw you from the window.
That is Lilith. She runs like a demon from hell, does she not?
Quite so. It's an extraordinary breed.
Yes, she has a lineage that goes back. This bar is my home.
Isn't your ancestor the legendary Vlad?
That the Impaler. Quite the hero in his day.
Quite the monster to the Turks.
True. But sometimes good and evil are just a matter of perception.
Sometimes a matter of which end of the state you are on.
Well said, my friend. Very well said. But alas, we must not discuss such dark subjects within the company of such a lovely young woman as this, Miss Lucy. It is wonderful to see you up and about. Has there been improvement?
Oh, I'm sure there will be now that the professor has joined the fray.
Ah, I see. You come here as no mere social visit, but as a man of medicine, a man of science, a formidable adversary to any malady. What an exhilarating parody, then.
Yes, but the best remedy would be my Jonathan's safe return. Any news, Count?
That's still no matter. I have a legion of gypsies searching about for the forest of Dents and the cliffs of perilous, oh, 'tis so going. If this goes on any longer, I shall be forced to return to Castle Dracula and lead the hunt myself.
You are so kind, Count.
I think that you know, sweet lady, that when we first met, I have invoked a bold fee. I see in you a kindred spirit.
Visits have meant so much to me.
It does not bore you, this wearisome old dark bygone from a dark bygone age.
Listen to you, talking like an antique again. No, I quite love your old folk tales. They're really rather enchanting. Those peculiar songs you sing.
Yes, so many early songs sung in your homeland.
In this land as well. Ghost Lover, have you heard? They sing it in all the dozens down by the wall. A young lady stands on the beach, mourning her lost lover who was drowned at sea. So strong was her love that his ghost rises from the waves. And they embrace in the moonlight. When he tells her that he must go, she will not be left behind. She takes him by the hand. Together, they descend into the cold, dark water.
Yes, even we English enjoy the occasional melancholic tale of the supernatural.
Again, perception makes all the difference. To the ghost, the supernatural is the natural.
Oh, excuse me, Dr. Seward.
Yes, Miss Sullivan.
It's time for Miss Westfall's medications.
neglect your health on my account. I will be visiting again soon.
And you will be seeing plenty of me as well.
Then I'll be a good girl and run along. Au revoir.
Au revoir, mademoiselle. Sweet dreams. So, you will be staying on for a bit, then, Professor.
Until we put the roses back in that young woman's cheeks.
Very good. I would be most interested to hear your diagnosis.
There is none that I can speak of as yet.
See, I am so far away from my homeland. Her warmth and hospitality have meant a great deal to me.
And what brings you from the somber peaks of Transylvania?
I do miss my castle, Dracula, for it is in the shadows that I find the seclusion that I so often require.
No, Conflicts is hardly without its own shadows.
Yes, I love conflicts. Quite suits me. Yeah, see, I am not entirely a recluse. I sometimes have an absolute hunger for people, you see. See, here, in my homeland, they are so few and far and lacking in variety, but here I can be amongst your mighty streets of London. Here I can sate myself amongst your teeming thousands.
I must say, I had no idea you were so fond of people.
Humans. Aha. I thrive on them. I love all colors and shapes and sizes and temperaments, but most of all the young ones.
But why the young?
They are so fresh.
Yes, I see what you...
I love the color in their eyes, the blush in their cheeks, the purity of emotion.
Yes, well, you're quite the economist. You know, Abram and I do need to get cracking.
Do you hear that? The children of the night! Oh, what sweet music they make! Oh, you who dwell in the city too long can never know the heart of a hunger. I will leave you to get cracking, as you say. The darkness brings me, and my mouth grows restless. Little too is a hunger. When the chase is on and her nostrils fill with the scent of blood, none can escape her. Farewell for now, my friends.
Good evening, Count. Good friends, if you ask me, the arrogance of that thing, prancing about howling and so forth, but we've important work to do.
Yes. More important and challenging than you realize.
Gee, Lucy, do you know what the disease is? Do you have any idea what it is?
My diagnosis is that there is no disease.
Well, I'm sorry, Abram, I think you've lost me. Do you mean to say that you think that this disease is imaginary in some way?
Nothing of the kind. The symptoms are real, but the cause is not internal.
But I don't know of any external phenomenon that can simply make blood disappear from a person's body.
You don't, but I do.
What could possibly?
Thomas, you and I have studied medicine together. But you know that I study things outside the realm of conventional science.
Now, wait just a minute. Are you suggesting that you think that we're dealing with the occult?
Thomas,
Abram, a woman whom I love more than life itself, died in this house 3 weeks ago. And I'm this close to losing a dear friend the very same way, and you talk to me these fairy tales.
Thomas, I am well aware of your consequences.
Then why do you mock me with such superstitious nonsense?
You heard her! Describe the thing, the beast, the thing with the red eyes!
There must have been some kind of hallucination.
Is that so?
Yes, and that's what prompted her nightmares later on.
So then all in her mind!
It could be anything else.
Thomas? Take a look.
Well, this can't be.
That was taken from a 16th century rendering in Montenegro.
But what in the blazes is it?
In the Count's part of the world, Nosferatu. The undead. Here we say vampire.
A vampire.
Yes, that is correct.
So you think those two puncture wounds?
Fangs. Sharp fangs.
But if these women were attacked by such a demon, why would they have said anything?
My guess is that these creatures can be very powerful, and they use some sort of partial amnesia in their victims, particularly in those that they intend to revisit.
Oh, so you're saying they can control minds?
In some cases control, in some cases enslave. Your star patient is very well on his way to slavery.
Renfield.
Yes, he is a spy, but a reluctant one, and he may prove to be useful.
Abram, assuming I believe all of this, what chance do we have against such a creature?
Yeah. These things are formidable, but they affect God, not without their vulnerabilities. The vampire can only function at night. They cannot stand the daylight. They must return to the soil lot from which they were buried every morning before dawn, where they lie immobilized throughout the day. If we can purify their grave or tomb with holy water, then they cannot enter. The crucifix is also a powerful weapon, but the surest way to destroy them is a stake through the heart.
Abram, I feel as if I've passed through the looking glass.
Yes, I know, my friend, I know, but humor me yet, and I will provide you proof of plenty.
Well, all of my remedies have failed, so I guess I have no choice but to follow your lead. How shall we begin?
I wish to examine Miss Lucy's quarters to see if the monster left any trace behind.
Well, Miss Sullivan just gave her a sedative. She'll be needing a lie down.
Let her rest there on the sofa. It might be best and safer for her until we have a chance to take it over.
Very well, I'll go fetch her.
And Thomas, you still heard nothing of what I have said.
I'll be right back.
Sorry, sir.
Go.
It's that boy Renfield. He's making a fearful ruckus, screaming his brains out of his. Says something's coming after him. And he got the whole ward in uproar. We need to get Dr. Stewart over there before things get out of hand.
Not for now, not for now. I do not want to disturb him. I will send for him directly.
All right, but you better be quick, or I'll be forced to take measures.
Yes, don't worry.
Right then.
Yes, my dear, I apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh, it's quite all right, Doctor. I'll be comfortable here.
Thomas, your attendant was just here, and he said that Renfield was causing quite a disturbance here and needed over there immediately.
Good grief, well, I'll go over what I've shown you Lucy's room. In the meantime, I'll put Miss Sullivan on the case.
No need, I will turn out the lights.
Very well. Sleep well, Lucy.
Thanks, Tom. He's a good one, that Seward.
I couldn't agree more.
We were all so close. He and Mina, John and I. We were planning to take our vows together. Double ring ceremony. Isn't that sad?
Please, I do not want you to upset yourself. It is important that you get your rest.
Do you think there's any chance I'll see my John again?
Of course. And there is always hope in such cases. Now please lay down.
I'm so glad you're here, Professor.
As am I, my child. As am I. Close your eyes. Good night.
Here, who wants a bit of this? I just did it myself. Shall I? Shall I munch it myself? Dang. Oh, bloody hell. Gave me a fright.
I'm going to give you more than that if I catch you nosing around in here again.
I'm just doing my job. That bleeding bug biter. He's on the loose again.
Dear Lord, I thought you had him in restraints.
Of course I did. That makes no difference to him. He's the bloody Houdini of the loony bin.
Well, you'd best find him before he stirs up even more trouble.
What? Trouble? Round all quiet little cottage by the sea? Oh, we're gone out there now, don't we? Not when things is going so lovely. What with one dead and one dying, God knows what. Shots being fired in the night, and young Mr. Walker turned up looking like Robinson Crusoe. What could be more restful?
Well, now thank goodness Mr. Harker has returned. It might lift that dear girl's spirits.
Oh, last I saw when I went to investigate them shots, he didn't look none too good himself.
Well, he's been through a great deal.
Like what?
Well, I don't know all of it. And for that matter, neither does he. He's lost parts of his memory.
That's so. Which part?
Most of the time he spent with the cow.
Can't blame him. I like to forget that geezer myself. You know, it's ever since they moved in that creepy old run up on the hill that things have gone so queer around here.
Oh, don't be superstitious.
Superstitious, I'm like. Look out that door. Look at those dark clouds gathering. Pitch black clouds against the sky the color of tombstone.
There's a storm brewing, it's on.
Look at that fog bank rolling in. Pretty soon, we'll all be wrapped up in it like a thin winded sheet.
We live by the sea. We have weather.
Same weather we had last night, the night before that, and almost every night since the Demeter came aground. Remember that? The cruise ship? No one on board except the captain. And even at least 3 days in, lashed to the wheel. Him and a great black thunder leaps off the deck and heads for the hills. And what was in the hold of that ship but some packing cases? And who were those packing cases delivered to? What, your friend and mine, jolly old Count Dracula.
I read the papers, Norbert.
Do you now? She keeps up the current events, does she? And maybe you see this here in the Evening Chronicle. Little item titled the Olmsted Order.
I noticed it.
Some lady in a nightgown luring kids off in the woods for a bit of frolic, and then turn up later with little red marks on their little white throats. Ever seen anything like that before?
I get your point.
My point is, this neighborhood is going downhill rapidly. I think it's time for sophisticates like you and me to seek employment elsewhere.
I can't go now. I need it. Dr. Seward needs me.
Magnus,
Don't call me that.
Margaret.
In this house, I am Miss Sullivan.
Right. Miss Lady Sullivan. I need you. Let's you and me take off together and put all the strangers behind us and maybe get jobs someplace a bit more cheerful like a nice mortuary somewhere.
I can't do that to Dr. Seward. He took me on when I was right off the boat from Dublin, and he trained me as his assistant. He's the kindest man I know.
I can be kind. Ain't I being kind to you? Wasn't I kind last night?
No, we must stop this.
Come away with me before whatever's happening around here happens to us.
No, no. This is where I belong. This is my job. Now why don't you go do yours?
All right, Miss Sullivan. But for God's sake, think about what I said.
What's that in there?
Little gift from my favorite saint, token of my appreciation for all the lovely exercise he's given me.
Well,
Well, what?
what about the devils in your little box?
Sorry, dear. Not for your eyes, really. You've too delicate a nature.
Don't be an idiot. I've worked in this place far longer than you, and I've seen plenty.
Well, if you insist.
Ow! Ow! No! Oh, you're just as sick as Penfield! Get out of here, go!
You asked for it, and curiosity got the rest.
My frightened
I'm
you.
sorry, sir, I didn't think of...
You've been a very wicked girl.
Pardon?
You've been wicked with that loudest imbecile who just left.
Excuse me, sir, but that is none of your business.
You dare to take that tone of voice with me.
I do not answer to you, sir.
Ah, cognitive violence. Typical of your race. Proud, but stupid.
Well, as much as I'm enjoying this conversation, I think I'll run along.
If only you could. Run along. But your legs don't work. What's wrong with your legs?
What's wrong with my
You
legs?
must want to stay. Your wickedness must keep you here.
I'm not wicked.
I can teach you about wickedness.
I'm not. Oh, good God.
Should we begin our lesson?
Don't come near me. Don't come near me. Don't come
You will
near
have to
me.
be loud for them to hear. Try again. What's wrong with your voice?
What's wrong with my voice?
You must want to stay. Stay and to learn that you are a serving girl. You want to stay, you must learn to obey.
No!
No!
I am not a serving girl. I'm a doctor's assistant.
With the doctor, you assist. With your master, you serve! Can you hear me now? Yes. Do you know that I have enemies? They seek to hunt me down. They are the hunt. They are the prey. Into the darkness shall they be cast. Into the abyss for eternity. Death unto them.
Death unto them. Death unto them.
Together we vanquish them.
Death unto them. Death unto them.
You are now my creature. I see with your eyes, hear with your ears. My will be your will. My will be done.
Thy will be done. Thy will be done. What say you? I obey.
They approach. Forget until you receive my command.
Have you ever been a seaman before?
Never in my life. In fact,
sick as a dog for the first week.
Oh, hello, Miss Sullivan. Miss Sullivan, what are you staying at so insisted?
Professor Van Helsinger, there was a girl on the path to the beach, and she reminded me so much of myself. I wanted to call out to her and tell her to come back, but she disappeared into the fog. I felt for a moment as if I'd lost my best friend. Isn't that silly?
No, it's quite all right. Besides, you Irish women are so beautiful when you're sad.
Oh, aren't you the sly old devil? I must be careful around you.
I assure you I'm no threat.
Oh, that was all you bastard. All you men say. If you'll excuse me.
Yes, of course. Would you also bring in Dr. Seward?
Yes, sir.
Is there something funny?
It was just something I read in the papers. I'll send Dr. Seward.
She seems in an odd mood this evening.
Yes, understandably so. Have you any further recollections?
Nothing at all from my stay at Castle Dracula. Though at first I couldn't remember anything at all. I recall awaking on the riverbank with no money or form of identification, begging my way to the coast where I found work aboard a London-bound steamer. 10 days out of port, I suddenly remembered who I was and who I loved.
And you came here?
As quickly as I could. But something did not seem right about the place, and so I waited and watched from the woods until I heard the scream and came crashing in.
And you saw?
What you saw? A monster. Tom seems to think it was a vampire of some sort. I don't know that I believe that, but it did seem to vanish into thin air the moment I fired upon it.
Fascinating.
Evening, gents. How are we getting on?
Hello, Tom.
Thomas, did you find the tincture?
Oh, yes. Right here.
John, it is important that we know more about this Dracula. We have made up this ancient Chinese formula, and I must tell you that it will bring back all your unwanted memories. But I must warn you, you will fully re-experience them. Are you willing?
I must say the thought terrifies me, but it will save Lucy.
It's a maid, that is all I can say.
Then hand it over. My God, what's in that?
You don't want to know.
Oh, that is the worst thing that I have ever tasted.
Stop. And listen to me very closely. We don't have much time and this only works once. You must tell us how you escaped Castle Dracula.
No. No, please.
For Lucy, for all of us.
I can't. I can't. Oh God, I'm his prisoner.
This prisoner.
He's kept me locked in this room for weeks. I don't know what he plans to do, but I know it isn't good. I've decided I must escape. He has gypsies guarding the palace by day and a vicious wolf X rounds it by night, but just before dawn he simply neither wolf nor gypsy about. And that's when I make my move. I knock some sheets together, lash loose and let him throw myself out the window. But the sheets aren't long enough, and so about 15 feet from the courtyard below I let go and fall apart to the ground. It takes a while for me to regain my senses, but suddenly I am surrounded by these swirling golden particles glittering in the moonlight. Then, out of nowhere,
is mine! But the boy is yours! So you no longer care for my hospitality, Mr. Harker!
I am leaving this place, Count!
I climb onto one of the ancient broken walls. Far below me, I can see the river shimmering in the pre-dawn light.
Some deep drop there, Mr. Harker. But did he survive the fall? The water is cold as ice, and the current is fierce.
I am not staying here!
Don't be a fool. Let me help you.
He lunges toward me, but just as he does, the first shaft of sunlight strikes the courtyard. It seems to blind him, driving him back. He gathers himself, moves toward me once again. I know I have but one chance. I turn and dive headfirst into the valley. Now I am falling and falling. Oh God.
Thomas! John! You're home now!
Oh God. Did you find out what you needed to know?
Yes. Well done.
Well, it's the Count. It's got to be.
It would appear so.
Oh, but you're not convinced.
The vampire must return to the soil which it was buried. How can a vampire from Transylvania survive in England?
The gypsies.
What of them?
For days before my escape, I watched them prepare for his departure. Many days I watched from my window as they loaded his possessions into their caravan. One such time, I noticed a task they worked at that I did not fully comprehend until just now. They were loading small, narrow packing crates full of buckets of soil.
Where did that soil come from?
The bowels of the castle itself.
But no doubt, the family crypt is located. You have solved it, my friend. Dracula is the creature that plagues us. He is the monster that you fired at last night.
But the Hound?
Yet another manifestation of the same being. He is a shapeshifter. My friends, our task is clear. If we can deprive him of his resting place, he is doomed. We must begin to search those boxes tomorrow morning.
Why not now?
By day, he is powerless. If we were to go to his lair at night, he would rend us limb from limb. But now we must protect Lucy at all costs. Go to her now, John, and tell her nothing of
It's
the
too
fears.
late for that, Professor. I've been standing outside since I heard John cry out. I heard. I know.
Who do you know?
It's him. He killed my best friend, and I am next on the list, aren't I, Professor?
Not if I can help it. Thomas, you say your life is lacked adventure. What do you say to a day of vampire hunting?
I'm with you all the way.
And I.
And I.
How can such a team fail? As hunters do, we must begin at daybreak. Thomas, take me to your tool shed. Miss Lucy, please wear this crucifix around your neck. It is a repellent to them. I will seal up the doors with holy water, and now he cannot enter. Come, Thomas.
Oh, Lucy. I don't know what I would do if I lost you. I could not bear to live without you. I don't know how Thomas can bear it.
The professor says there's hope. I believe him. I want to be doing something. I feel so helpless. I guess the only thing to do now is wait.
Well, there is one other thing we could do.
Well, look at this. Look at the sly little lovebirds. This is what goes on behind my back, is it?
Hello, Margaret.
What is this nasty business? And you a sick woman to boot.
Miss Sullivan, we were just kissing. We aren't engaged to be married, for heaven's sake.
Just kissing. Just kissing, he says. Innocent as the day is long. Well, we all know where just kissing leads.
Margaret, I know what's going on.
Margaret, please sit down.
Oh, you're not right to tell me.
Sit down! Oh, Now we'll see who's who and what's what around here. Stop squirming, little pet. Go to sleep. Sleep. What is that you're wearing, you dirty girl? What right have you to wear that? Take it off immediately!
No!
I said... Oh, you must be overheated from all your activity. Why don't we let in the breeze?
You will play your wits against mine. Would hope these fools haunt me and frustrate me in my disguise. Now you must be punished for what you have done. You will learn as they have learned, and part what it is to cross my path. You that best beloved are to be made flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. Man will be my God. When I invite my sauce, you cross land to sea to do my bidding. To that then.